me this is go show so yeah because dear I'm surprised.
It is well.
But do you be able to go?
Here, bra. Be I fine so.
It
is well. It is well. It is well.
Na come say me space no na me tie musanza am so no eze bi. Me di kan sem ni.
And unti ase o.
Me there is one thing about me. Me will view and policy as a communicator for politically exposed person. May have a template in addressing process.
Yeah.
And especially, it will not be wise for you to even attack the credibility of Musa.
Yeah.
Because we're gaining public trust.
Yeah.
And so, Ebasa, kwese bese panic na de ahabai, but the first testing the banyansa fum.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, no, some discrediting Musa. The first question you was say, vote to ban the Canada Agyapong. It really doesn't add anything to Canada Agyapong.
Right.
But there are ordinary Ghanaians and reasonable Ghanaians. One of them say, I'm just being in a denial state. Because one more year they edge when people build trust and credibility, a weapon.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can use it well, sometimes they can also weaponize it.
Yeah.
My more clear instance, I mean, that is my personal reservations, way is not a campaign issue.
Yeah.
Somebody like Anas is somebody I have issues with.
Yeah.
Why? Because let me say, we build a public trust. And he's relevant because state institutions are also more fighting corruption has failed. And some way, somehow, Obama as the Messiah.
Yeah.
But in being Messiah, no, I said now so much chima kakrebi ede who are the same adana all fight no. Or say you see the public trust no, and then or done confidence na when no, and also abuse the trust no. That's me.
All right.
The process can do that.
All right.
But whether they are doing that or they are not doing that, na, we obia make us say address certain issues like this. How do you go it? And me, I've addressed Musa on so many occasions. First time Odipo buying, I picked the phone and called him. Now me call Joy. Now me see opening now. We the assementi ase kakra. Because even the last election, Dr. Baumia had almost 137 members of parliament supporting him because he was an establishment candidate. So over 6,000 appointees, well, the best you can do is to shut up.
Right.
Also, DCs were his campaign coordinators by default.
Yeah.
All the 276 constituencies. All constituency executives, all the 17. Right. So he was indeed the establishment candidate. And President Akufo-Addo was very intentional. And this is Akufo-Addo. Uso kufo de wasu maya juma me doba ne chifala monya de mumwano we just we yese me de neba mupo monya de munso ni mu.
All right. Despite
their course so having the state security apparatus to engineer everything on the election day no onya 61% too.
Right.
Tiasem you tidipa onya 61% a Kennedy ono literally barely about 6 months or they prepare for elections so etimi ko onya 37%. Nje de na afi and then normal assessor the waves and momentum Ken has been able to sustain it for that long. Now I heard Brian Swat him. Brian was in Baumia's camp. So okay,
yeah.
Very strong.
Yeah.
Arguably now there are speculations that vice presidential near Tepono.
Right.
Me and Papa Dr. Duchum. I mean, you can downplay him in all the regions, but Ashanti factor and Ashanti cars he's playing, you can't take his about 7% from him.
Yeah.
What I say? Because observation and reasonability are also variables and components in research.
Yeah.
What I say? You're going to research, you can tell you, Abba Yakotono, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, Donald Trump being 12%. It won't be reasonable. It defied the logic and consistency. Said no. Yeah. Because there are references in previous elections a bit to be a guide. Comment upon no need about your camp. And no contestino. President Akufo-Addo was the one who was in the helms of affairs. No other ship no ko. Because easy. And no abandoned ship no. Until Lord come in money be up baby the day. Afa. I'm not able, I don't have the permission to label baby a bin day.
Yeah.
But at least with President Akufo-Addo, with Agyapong, with Dr. Brian Champong, and with Dr. Duchum, these are objective realities and they'll be a
yeah.
And these are big fishes. No, all of a sudden, they'll pull you from. And the MPC could be D. Kenho. So, now I feel Ken or no 37 or Dr. Baumiana the camp match almost by 5 different divisions. You know, Ken Mum now drops to 17. Okay.
Okay.
But this is my approach. me, I see every poll as a guide and a template to guide you and a good feedback for you.
Right.
Because some of the pools will favor you. Now, only pool no, pool how one now young. The basis is that first of all you have to look at the methodology in the AUC. Methodology na predator outcome in the ebenya.
Yeah.
In Musa's case, this is okay. So one more random sampling to feed na the efa.
Yeah.
Assuming say feed any fa, or program say feed any fa, enipa 2020 from each constituency na free random. That itself will give a bias and skewness. Una rekundia. Okodomi kwabenya. One more delegate is about 1,800. Over for me is about 230. And if we are picking 10 randomly from each constituency,
but I know you're disproportionate. On can't pick it if. But what if ABA stratify sampling? Who say in stratify sampling?
Yes.
Oh yeah, now what their unity so that you know that say baby swan more sampling
exactly
and a baby swan so
100%. Me bahano. I'm not sure that dantem because I mean without disrespect to any journalist, there are some you go you don't even prepare.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that dantem because I wanted to rest and I know me per flow said some of them will say what questions and not necessarily so on a certain question but sometimes to be guided. No, me flow organically say yeah, and I'm happy where you are going. Yes, as at now no. We don't have. I have not had the opportunity to review the full methodology that you see.
Yeah.
But I'm borrowing his own words.
Yeah.
Our car say move to go randomly.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that when you do the random sampling, one of them could be the simple random and the stratified now Now the argument could be A or B.
Yeah.
And either of them, no, it could be their working.
Yeah.
It could also be their making.
Say
but
issue 10.
Yes. Who you to 10. So then you get the bias thing.
Right.
And you say you're wrong. But the outcome will be a bit skewed based
because
on the methodology.
Because a bit does to change. It also DB
yes. And you can find 10. Now can find 10. You won't get the true representation.
That's also true.
And you may be doing a percentage terms. If you are doing percentage terms there, then it will be reasonable. Percentage terms that you'll be doing about 180 people, whilst a beer if you're using 10%, maybe a formula you'll be doing around 27 people.
Exactly.
What I say. So we may have to get clarity into it. But for me, this is my view.
I'm decided for
I'm coming there.
Yeah.
For me, this is my position on polls. Papa Musa dan Kwayene Juma. I will not sit here and discredit him.
Right.
He's done his job. Osha, there are pollings that he's predicted so right. If we look at, for instance, 2020, Obayacho.
Yeah.
2019. He was able to get what almost President Akufo-Addo had. No? He had it almost right. But President Mahama had 34%. But President Mahama had around 43. 10% difference.
Yeah.
And the polling there is not absolute.
Yeah.
It's just a projection. That's not so for crying polling.
Of course.
But the whole point is that it's just a feedback to make us to work so hard. There are other polls that has predicted so right and so strongly for Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nano Sanity Africa there
Yeah.
TV3
Yeah.
Mindjoy
Yeah.
And all of them Ken is leading. All of them Ken is leading.
Yeah.
Sanity Africa quad was targeted delegates specifically. But the reason why Musa Damquest's own has become topical is because of the relevance he's built for himself over the history.
I get it.
And
yeah.
Can hold kakra because I was a pundit.
Yeah.
And quickly what he did was or making youth and started then doing exit poll. So that if it is not here, the exit will then vindicate him. There is no 100% precision. But I mean reasonably, objectively. How would then somebody move from 17 with all this background from 37 with all this background and history of
but so can be may on say nano or that analysis.
Yes.
The delegate system no. Momu delegates no. And Kokrafoni also.
Yes.
And these people, it's difficult to change.
The last time Minekasa, he mentioned about 70-something%. But when I checked the data, it was less than that. It was around 54.
Now even 54,
yes. But
when you have 54, even 50% as delegates are be from 50 years and above.
That would be around 45 plus.
Yeah, so even 45, but they are conservative. They're against JJ4 because 45 years, JJ.
Yes.
It is typically a strong MPP person. ono a wonkoto mandis bo wonkoto aba sa person no be delegator now see we ni epe no ana ye nto ne so a ne nsesan no say den kakra
ne nsesan den unim it boils down to nkomo ye betwetwen it boils down to messaging.
Okay,
it is undisputed say your researcher aye ne nkomo aye die nyina no Dr. Bawumia solely hope and idea the straw he's holding on Brian so funny the second chance. Oh, and if I am Kennedy or I'm a communicator of Kennedy, my only issue, and as I say, the only burden on me is say I should explain to the delegates why second chance in MPP, even though it's a true history, but the proper history, has always been contingent on performance.
Okay,
what I say? Yeah, Juma. What I say? And polling there, when him say duration also counts. In the next 5 days, no be na depending on also a Juma but the skewness of the figure to tell me say Brandy Champo benya 1%. Who kwasa o ebe yon kakra.
But say on the side, and because on the side they be wo hwa.
Yes.
And no to me
it's 27%. Yes.
You understand?
27,
that's a lot.
Yeah. When you are an establishment candidate, people are not afraid to associate themselves with you.
Okay.
Nti Dr. Bawumia no establishment no be anim say yesi bia ebi nim susu say executives di nachi ebi susu say mpanifo we na hye nachi wono no de ehunu ne yafiri who's establishment there technically it's like the party is for you.
Yeah,
I mean some way somehow obi ani wa osuro so obeka che oso ama establishment candidate and say obi obeka che so undecided bia ye nipa so ye de ohwe ni ye. Me if you ask me, I'm not worried because I calculate Ken votes to be the 17% no or their man no but you bet him about 17 plus undecided is 24 me.
Yeah.
17 plus 24 me say 17 plus 24 should give us 41%. Now, assuming without admitting this logic is to suffice, because now we are all doing analysis.
Yeah.
This logic is to suffice. Now, Bawumia stands at 47, Ken stands at what? 41.
So, you know, can say likely say
run off. I'm not worried, bro. But when him say me a Bawumia fan, and if I'm in the Bawumia's camper, I should be worried. Do you know how I should be worried?
Tell me.
In a year ago, I had 61% in the last primaries. With all the support and the machinations and the establishment support, only 61%.
Right.
Then Musa did the polling just last month. Polling our year last month, only said Dr. Bawumia on 52%. Right? And in the space of 1 month, Dr. Bawumia has dropped from 52% to say 47%. That is a 5 percentage point drop. Very significant. And if the trajectory is to go like that from 61 to 52 to 47 in the next 4 months, but no one is what to drop by 20%.
Possible.
Yes, and I could drop by 20%, and also 32%. And I don't see Dr. Bawumia crossing 32%.
And 32% for delegates, Nana.
Yes, you could talk about.
Hey, Kwasi, I don't say Kwasi, Dr. 30%.
Where data? Musa don't data near you. See, I said you.
So, Dr. Bawumia data. 30%.
Mami fa de bi no me afun ti o Mr. John to ti me bra pani no ti asem ni ni
yeah
now no nya 61%
right
with the delegates and no verifiable votes. Then Musa just last month did the polling. So polling no not talk about me drop from because the album has not changed significantly.
Right. And
he has dropped from 61% to 52% in the last election. Last poll na Musa in the space of 1 month, we're moving from 52 to 47.
Right.
That is 5 percentage point drop. Yes, a swat 5. And when you said there's likely to be runoff. Assuming without admitting, second, 8 and 5 percentage points now they are dropping. Can just 4 regions so.
And
Odinya 5 percentage drop affected by me. It is a can to me other 12 regions near the account. As I had a back to back. What it means in this, if you are to go by Musa's own analogy, every month be or 5%. Now the next 4 months of Dr. Bawumia so quoted 20%. What 20 ni free? Omeka say oti 20 ni free 47 ni ma. He is usually around 27. And I'm so papa ni timi 32%.
And timi 32.
By Musa dan kwa ya.
Na Ken is when you say.
Hey, na say me I'm projecting around
record you.
Yeah, I'm projecting. You see, me, I'm a very realistic person.
I understand. Tell me, see, you're recording.
Yes, I'm
recording.
I'm projecting.
Cameras, bear me. I am for the also.
Oh, you need to wait my hand.
Okay, Mati.
It is my projection. Second, maybe.
But
it is my projection that can maybe doing around 62 to 64%.
Mr. Officer, repeat.
It is my projection. Second, maybe doing around 62 to 64%. We are winning Western North.
Okay.
We are winning Ahafo.
Okay.
We are winning Bono. Bono is, as at now, we may need to work so hard.
Right.
But Bono is, say, Yentime winning pa, very close.
Right.
Savannah will be close.
Okay.
The other 4 northern regions, you know, Dr. Baumia will win.
Okay.
But upper east. Sorry.
Northeast.
No. Northeast and upper east, yeah, Boko issues, you know. It will also be very close because of the Kusasi and the Mamprisis factor, where Kusasi from Council and also power.
Right.
We win Greater Accra.
Okay.
Right? We win Eastern. We win Vota. Dr. Baumia be winning. It's likely he will win Oti. Asante obviously will be a decider.
Okay.
Asante no say a beam because now okay the last time Asante nya first lady because candidates will be in free how.
Yeah.
Dr. Baumia free enough. Ken is also from Asante even though we're living a life in our Kumasi.
Oh, candidates.
The 2 leading candidates.
Okay.
Say Brian also free.
I now refu Papa Ntina na Mentiazi.
Oh, there be say asema e can.
Can you say 4?
Oh, they make the 2 leading one.
Okay. Obi and free.
So contest be no. Where they are, you have the dominant
ones. Supporters in this will play Brian for ne. On the Agyapong for the Biama is 0. No, it's not fair to us.
Oh,
what they meet you.
But so
Kwabran so free as
yeah. Wow, Okasa. Oh yeah, interview ni Musa Ekano. But this is about the 32 day. But this is about Brandy.
Oh, the
team. But let me let me put it this way. So the 2 leading candidates, which is Ken and Dr. Baumian, Obi and Freeha.
Okay.
Right. But case in say, identity politics is very real.
Very.
We are almost so when I think for harmonious living in the kind identity politics is very real.
If we have free
it's true.
It's true.
How come all the 11 MPs from the north now what to be that? But the point is the last time Asante region in first lady was Kunedu.
Yeah.
Be that. In the history, pa enya Claude ni enya president Kofo.
Yeah.
As you two abasine we are Ghana ni panyina.
I say no free bono, ne yeri free bono side.
Yeah, me tell or no president Kofo no free ha.
Yeah.
But ne yeri crowd no free ha.
Yeah.
But we president Kofo any Kunedu. We've not had any other person close to the presidency again. No.
That's true.
What I say?
That's true.
And it is a case can you free Mampong here?
Okay, as a great Mampong.
There be a
Asante Mampo. Okay, that's fine.
Asante Mampo say nano a year cry and she's going to be stationed here.
All right.
She's also going to be stationed or by Bruteti Hania Cry and most of the account communities to also campaign. And the air corner, the normalcy corner how projections in this me, I don't see can doing anything less than 62 to 64%.
All right. Now, Yenkoha. I mean, congratulations in advance, Bema. But we cannot overrule outside the party.
Yes.
And I'm saying this because of the experience that we've had.
Okay.
I remember Muchusu Napo.
Yes.
And say it's a public knowledge on our position and what I said. Say you may be popular because even at the time Alan Freeman Keno, post waha.
Yeah.
Emma mu confirm me say instead of Baumia no peken. It was clear.
Yes.
That I'm talking about 2024. That time umpono instead of Baumia no mo peken.
Yeah.
But Omutuma Baumia, because they said that Omutuma Baumia won't win. They said it on a platform. The records are there. Now, Canon so I want the baggages.
Oh,
yes. And Memusa will let Ken be Ken. But you see, Kakram is me who Ghana for no say sometimes we can be a bit funny. Baby, what touchy. In Sambia or Kaye. Ebia delegates may forgive.
Yeah.
A day na more because don't overrule the anger outside. You may need them.
Yeah.
The pastoral, I've seen a lot of pastors they are still referring, even though I know say we're apologizing. But see, Ghanaians are funny. The header of trying to now come into the Ghana space where nanu being sema ubin so aheti umuno. What are you going to do about it?
Only my Joe. I mean, sometimes I disagree with you on a lot of things, including your style as a journalist. But there's one thing I cannot take from you. There is one thing I cannot take from you. A sense of reasoning. Anyhow, with that question. Me, I like it like this. And my main state, one of the stations I'm a choir manager, I join the city. Because I'm common was wrong. Tietimi to train some near the Eba. And this is a very valid question. You see, me and Ambeka let can be Ken.
Yeah.
And I have to state it on record that let can be Ken was relevant then in a context. But right now, it's a message that gradually has to be toned down.
Okay.
But what is the message I say? Because
BBM.
What was the context? The context was nobody cares about what Ken is bringing on board. All what everybody cares about is Ken is temperamental, Ken is this, Ken is this. They say yes. Nana, Ken ye nipa. Just like me no wotie. There were shortcomings. We have strengths and shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far I said be no more to it. Sometimes if you are exposed to their private life, that's
true.
But they manage it in a nice way.
Right.
Ken has strengths or weaknesses. Said them say and no kind, you know. And then we be na papa. What I say. But even normal or you say your shortcomings and so temperamental and it all depends on how we want to view it.
Okay.
And again, how we also want to harness it for the development of our country.
Right.
Nipa also a temperamental. No? It could be true. But have you also looked at Ken also being so passionate about getting results?
Getting results done.
Say, I don't know why now Ken the one chima wo. I say Ken the what did the party for them? What was the contest? This is a man now from the 92 BC. He has always been in defense of the party.
Right.
What did he say? Ye party, Juma, ye party, for ya, and to another party next year. I feel na kobro so. Ya udie no na kuma ye de. Mama one instance.
Right.
Party focus ya President Akufo-Addo. Gabi Asaroche da ko. Asante Bedie to Osafo Mafo. No mu kushia party mpanifo ne party makakra.
Right.
E wo Gabi fi, e wo Koforidua. No mu di nkomo na say no obi afafo an recorded the Osafo Mafo ye de e kan.
Yeah.
Na some Osafo Mafo kan ni modu ne hadwen so kakra.
Yeah.
Asem ne say as a superiority complex and rivalry between the Achems and the Asantes.
Yeah.
Nipa no record we no de koma wan fa amro nhira no wan fa nkoma ayi o wan fa nkoma man so no de ko pro NDC station Accra FM no mo ko boy ankade or how no ye ne kese pa beto the Asantes and the Achems.
Yeah.
Ye no bi ma ko fa do like kan bramansia na be de e be pa chew no be ya na sense so ye de eguzo. When Ken heard it, most MPP for mo ejime mo ye nkwasiafo.
Yeah.
You see how the contest is he doesn't understand why any reasonable person
because in KNDC for nkomunye tie den na wo MPP ni wo be sa na say unim nyansa. I agree.
What I say?
I agree.
Obia or how he addresses issues. Me I'm a communication person.
Yeah.
Musa dan kwadi adebayi. Somebody will rubbish it. Oh, Musa oja credible nya papa.
Yeah.
I don't see a ask anything to ask.
Yeah.
Di meya no boko. Di me na me address we ya kemeka say dia nipa ye dia say nyansa nya dey anymore. Ken kanasa. Ken meka say mo ya kwasiafo. But you see we are highly conservative like we said.
Exactly.
What you say? And normally you also need to learn and adapt. But again, context is also very important.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is say, let us also not weaken our leaders, especially when we know say one more character traits be bit my day. You have a be or you're bold or you're courageous. Also, you will timid challenging a party for or timid kind of create nipa. Why do we want to change such a person to fit into a certain template that we call presidential material from time immemorial 92 up to now?
On adaptation Donald Trump stand
No, not really. Americans are different from us.
Okay.
But I'm saying that in as much as he keeps his strength, he also needs to balance it to also fit within the
Ghana form pair.
That's why now it has changed from let Ken be Ken to
let Ken be Ken to
the old Ken fought for you, but the new Ken will build.
Say new Ken.
Yes, yeah, but you see, we are also
but
mindful.
Not because it's an open position. Because me I say, you would just say, Abranti, be none who fin pan. Or to say the bianata, but Okaso pe SP no. If you have ban was shining,
what say
what pie baby water the crab.
Also, the Kenyan say we are also mindful not changing him. That's why I say or nipa or a shortcomings.
Yeah.
And normally be okay. I'm sure say if you give him the opportunity, on kind of side
I get it.
Not necessarily because position away there always. My mom one example.
Yeah.
Recently we catch him say Ken Kopa so far. And I said I won't even go and tell him this, and he won't do it. No, Musa now say what we do so far them or say Debbie. No, say me a praise bini or me di me so far them. Me this would do Roman so for be atem. South of would do matter me fine. Nigeria Gezi, but you could
But they have following. But they have following.
No problem with that.
You need them. You need them. So it's very important.
I agree with you, but make us some Nana.
Because so called one man church is following power.
Can never attack one. I'm coming, Nana.
But they feel, you see, you're explaining, which I agree. But the point is that sometimes it's not just, for example.
But if you had allowed me to land, I was coming though. If you had allowed me to
yeah.
land, the point I was making is, what is the context? The context is not say Ken Edra Sofo and I pass off as him.
Yeah.
But this is Uncle subsequently Omukra back came fee and all the allegations he leveled against them. So more your car smuggling, yeah, Jim Crawford, say, yeah, way ABC. They came to him to apologize to him.
Yeah, I get it.
So why then do you say Ken should then make a U-turn and go and apologize to them in the name so position?
For the optics,
yes, but for the balance is also that then people would then see Sakwano or Bohankano, he's a hypocrite. Ken
No, I'm not sure so Moka say Oboa because people loved it. I'm sure say the tone at which okay. You know, sometimes a bit me a kabibi, nay no cre, but you see tone. There have been times I've been hard on an Akufo, but they said what kind no cre, but your tone. So I apologize. Then I do apologize. You understand?
Who apologizing for tone?
No, apologizing for the tone, which is very important because we are in the conservative environment. Adebi Ohan Kat is okay. Can be can say, but we can say. Communication because of our system. What do I say? You can use nonsense in USA. You can say F the president in USA. Ebi a wunti min kanisa. So people are saying, say, can the name so
but the tone is not the act.
No, but the tone is important because a gesture. In communication, gestures are very important. Tones are very important.
But how then do you go, for instance, somebody commits a grievous offense, you condemn it in ultimate terms. Then because you want a position as a presidential candidate or to be a president, you go and say, what are you going to apologize for? Say, I don't know why I said your kind of.
No, so bet me a can, but the point of fire and you say ultimate or babatian or dokwanso. And it's only a catch papa to me was said Damascus. You know, so I think that no, that's a feedback for you. I think, for example, how you are communicating, very perfect. People are just praising how you are communicating because of that experience. Can me who my attitude need be one who I mean I like straightforward things and I am able to resonate. But in our system and conservative system, there are certain things you could say, but the how is important. If friend said, "Nana, the how now can no." If you say, "You know, you the how no."
I agree with you.
So maybe the how.
Omaya, you jatwa hini woman. Know the context of Omaya. No.
Yeah.
Sometimes we should also not hide under the umbrella of conservatism. Let us also not run away from the canker culturally. Into us.
Exactly.
There are a lot of times that we don't have to be modest on certain situations.
I agree.
You have to be very hard.
Unfortunately,
my mom situation be this a situation. I don't see the better tone that you can describe how I didn't go for the ekom. Say if you have been a victim to any person whose name maybe I mean not one will repeat or mention again. If you are a victim to it, now you're vulnerable. Now be a good be a demand and these guys keep destroying families. And then later you say, oh, because of the tone, we should then go to ABCD and apologize to them. Yes, you see, Ken because of Ken no. The support base is where grassroots now say Sadia Okayo. So it has to be a fine balance. And what is a fine balance? The fine balance is that from January till now, now Ken speaks modestly, Ken speaks nicely, Ken address settle down already about FM.
Ken will be Ken.
Ken will be Ken. That's it. And now the America is about move.
I mean him. On the
material.
Yeah.
What America? You are invited. Then people place a call here to US chapter MPP.
Yeah.
And no panel event now. No, my friend Crawford say, Ken movement is not recognized by the MPP among council event.
Oh,
who does that?
Yeah.
And how then?
No, Ken will be Ken.
Ken will be Ken.
I support
right now, Ken will be Ken.
Right.
Let Ken be Ken. But at the same time, Ken is like a boxer.
Yeah.
When we are in the ring, You beat your opponent so mercilessly.
Yeah.
But he doesn't go about after say we free ring in him say Oshia we are no abono. Oh husband say we shall.
Remember the time you Oshia about me akra there's that mutual respect.
He's a nice person.
All right. Final word. Friends of Ken. I was from a magazine no mu team.
I want my time is about.
I. Now 3 years, me 20 minutes were high. It is mama 1 hour.
Mama final word no address it. Mama address it just 2 minutes. But just 2 minutes. Mama address it the second chance.
1 minute.
Oh, second chance means 1 minute. Mama try.
Yeah, the time so.
The catch party for the Ghana for nyina say MPP abakosem no. Ya to ankrofo so. But akama me kasa amfo na ede e chene nto aso.
Yeah.
Omo ayama makọ ne mpre no ne mpre so so nyina e demonstrate so mbetima ede aye bibi.
Right.
Adubu ahyankofa the party ni baaye. Oko onya 30.9%.
Right.
Second time kwa amana nkobi because say wa anya de.
Right.
President Kufuor de ko 39%. No wa chese obetima ede ayo nti amana to aso.
Right.
Na o de kokko wi ne. President Kufuor do eso kura be fa President Kufuor 39% no de ko 49. Ono kura de o ka wi ni first round.
Yeah.
And achiri ekoya osade ye de e bai. Nti wuntimi me fa Akufo-Addo de even the recent one na emeteso by 33%.
Right.
Ukura kwateso by 16%. Emeteso by 1.6 almost 1.7 million votes.
Right.
Now one show demonstration be I was reward of second chance. Then na say Magana for the party for United States. Second chance no and not just contingent on showing up. But has always been premised on performance.
Right.
And Yakoto Aba out of 9 regions, there were Makuma 90 ACs, MPP will move 5. There were 4 regions were you need just 1 parliamentary slot.
Right.
Seat. Abaya koto yano. Almost 400,000 of yanko for to my parliamentary etutia presidential.
Right.
So nti be a party ni jina nenya de enye. Nti in the spirit of revival in Kenya, I say Kwasi Assemblies of God in Presby. To they say in Kenya isom.
Right.
Party na 32 years. Dr. Bawumia President Akufo-Addo 16 years. The nipa be bi o ma yabwa. O mu free scene mu. Ne emfo obi obetima gitumi aba. And that is Owura Kennedy Ohene Agyapong.
Yeah, that's it. Just aka 4 months, right?
Aka 4 months, yeah.
And now more for 61%, you know.
62 to 64.
62 to 64. Because you got that's it. Yami Shram.
Eyeballs no ko pa o. Etwa 200 o.
So I had no